By 22, Zara had enough talking stages to fill a small textbook. There was Connell, who called her my queen in public but rolled his eyes whenever she spoke about her dreams of being a product designer. There was Femi, who love-bombed her with good morning paragraphs and then disappeared for 3 days because work was crazy. And there was Marcus, the half-charmer, half-storm, who made her feel like she was always an apology away from being loved properly. After each one, Zara would sit on the edge of her bed, legs crossed, scrolling through old chats and wondering how she'd missed the red flags that were now glowing like hazard lights. "Maybe it's me," she told her best friend Kiki one evening, as they sat on the balcony of Zara's tiny apartment. Down below, the city hummed with generators, honking cars, and hawkers selling suya on the corner. Kiki snorted. "Please. Men are just me. You're not asking for too much. You just want someone who shows up when they say they will and doesn't make you feel stupid for having a life." Zara smiled weakly. "It would be nice if he also knew the difference between your and your." "That too," Kiki said. "Grammar is a love language." So Zara decided she was done. Done with meeting guys at parties who smelled like expensive cologne and entitlement. Done with the hey pretty DMs that clearly came from a copy-paste list. Done with second-guessing herself. She re-downloaded her dating apps one last time only to delete them again in a burst of determination. "I'm focusing on my career," she told herself. She had just gotten an internship at a growing tech company, a chance to finally leave behind the endless cycle of unpaid gigs. She wanted to build a portfolio, grow into a proper designer, maybe even lead a team one day. Romance, she decided, was officially on hold. Which was why, 3 weeks later, when a message popped up on her Twitter from an account named @Tobi Codes, she almost ignored it. "Saw your thread about learning UX from YouTube. Mad respect. I started dev the same way. If you ever need help with the tech side, I got you. No hey dear. No weird pet names. No flirty emojis. Just a simple, thoughtful message responding to a thread she'd written about her journey learning design at night after her customer service job. She clicked his profile, ready to find the usual signs. Bio full of red flags, timeline full of insults, or endless retweets of videos with women reduced to punchlines. Instead, his bio read, "Software engineer. Bad at small talk, decent at debugging. Coffee over vibes." His pinned tweet was a long explanation of how he'd built a budgeting app for himself because Sapa humbled me in 2019. She still didn't respond. 2 days later, he replied to one of her design mock-ups. "This is clean. The spacing on the cards. Chef's kiss." She stared at the notification, then sighed and typed back, "Thanks. Still learning though." 3 dots appeared almost immediately. Just learning different things. We move." She smiled before she could stop herself. Against her own rules, Zara replied again. And again. And again. They slipped into a rhythm that neither of them acknowledged at first. Most days it started with a random tweet. Zara might post about how the Lagos heat was fighting her destiny, and Tobi would reply with some meme that made her snort laugh into her morning tea. Other times he'd share a bug he'd been struggling with, and she'd send him a dramatic gif of someone collapsing. Gradually they migrated into DMs. "Tell me something you're proud of," he asked one night. Zara blinked at the message. She was half asleep, blue light reflecting off her glasses. She could have said something simple, her job, her degree, but instead she found herself typing, "I'm proud that I didn't give up when everyone said design wasn't a real career. My mom still thinks I draw cartoons all day." "Mo," he replied. "My dad still tells people I press laptop." They started talking about their families, then their childhoods, then the way the city sometimes felt like it was swallowing them whole. The conversation stretched from 10 minutes to an hour, then to long voice notes that played while they cooked dinner or walked home from work. One evening, Tobi sent her a link. "Built this small web app over the weekend. I want your UI roast." She clicked it and gasped. "It's actually good," she said out loud, alone in her room. The layout was simple but clean, with soft shadows and clear hierarchy. Only the buttons were a bit loud. "Solid," she typed. "But these buttons. Why are they shouting?" Reduce the saturation a bit. I knew it. Designer police. Just listen to me, please. Or we'll fight. Uzma. Fixing it now. The next day he sent a screenshot with toned-down colors. Better. You're welcome, by the way. Thank you, Madam Art Director. She realized they made a good team. Her eye for detail, his brain for logic. They joked about starting a company one day, something that would make life easier for everyday people. No crypto, Zara insisted. And no predatory subscriptions. We'll build tools for people like us, Tobi said. Broke but ambitious. As the weeks passed, their chats turned softer. How was your day? Became. Did you eat? Here's the bug I fixed. Became. Here's the song that got me through today. One night, after a particularly rough day at work where her boss dismissed her ideas in a meeting, Zara sent him a long rant about feeling invisible. He listened, sending only a couple of short replies. That sounds exhausting. You deserve better. Your ideas are not the problem. Their mindset is. Then he added, screenshot those designs you pitched. When you lead your own team, we'll look back and laugh. For a long time she just stared at that message. No one had ever spoken of her future like it was obvious she'd succeed. Who are you, Tobi? She whispered. Later that night he said. By the way, this might be awkward, but can we have a proper call sometime? Voice is great, but I want to hear you answer in real time when I make a bad joke. Her heart skipped. She hesitated for only a moment before replying. Call this weekend. Saturday came with soft sunlight and racing thoughts. Zara cleaned her whole room even though Tobi wasn't going to see it. She changed her top 3 times, then reminded herself it was just a video call, not an interview or a date. Still, her hands trembled a little when his name lit up her screen. Incoming video call, Tobi. She took a deep breath and answered. For a second they both just stared. He was cute. Not the overly polished, filter-heavy cute she saw on Instagram, but soft-eyed, with a slightly crooked smile and dimples that appeared like a glitch whenever he grinned too fast. You're real, he blurted. She laughed. You sound surprised. I mean, I half expected you to be a 40-year-old man in Ibadan using stock photos. Wow. The disrespect. They fell into conversation easily. It felt less like meeting and more like continuing something already in motion. They talked about work. His life as a software engineer with too many deadlines, her frustration at being treated like just the intern even when she carried half the design workload. They compared favorite jollof recipes. He teased her for adding too much pepper. She mocked him for calling Indomie a full meal. At one point the power blinked out on her side. Ah, Nipa has struck, she groaned, now only lit by the faint light from the window. I can still hear you, he said. And that's the important part. The call stretched for hours. When they finally hung up, Zara lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling, cheeks aching from smiling. Kiki burst into her room. So, she demanded. How did it go with Mr. Twitter Dev? Zara rolled her eyes, but she couldn't hide her grin. We talked for 4 hours. Kiki's eyebrows shot up. 4. As in 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. And you're still saying you're not catching feelings. Zara hesitated. I don't know. He's just easy to talk to. He listens. He doesn't make me feel. She searched for the word. Small. Kiki said. Sounds dangerous. Over the next month, calls became part of their routine. Morning check-ins, late-night debriefs, random moments in the middle of the day when one of them needed to vent. Then one evening Tobi said, I have a question. Don't block me. She raised an eyebrow. Now I'm interested. Go on. How far with meeting in person? Her heart skittered. They lived in the same city, had confirmed that early on. It wasn't distance that scared her. It was the leap. From online safety to real-world vulnerability. I don't know, she said honestly. Memories of past dates, awkward silences, manipulative smiles, flickered through her mind. I've had bad experiences. Tobi nodded slowly. I get that. We don't have to rush anything. I like what we have already. But whenever you feel ready, I'll be here. Same city, same person. Same person, she echoed. Yes, he said, smiling. No identity theft. I promise. She laughed despite herself. Let me think about it, she said. Take your time, he replied. I'm not going anywhere. Those words settled warmly in her chest and stayed there. They finally met on a cloudy Sunday afternoon at a quiet cafe not too far from her office. Zara arrived early, sat by the window, and spent 10 full minutes rereading their chats just to remind herself he'd never given her a reason to doubt him. Still, her stomach twisted with nerves. When the door opened and he walked in, hoodie, jeans, laptop bag slung over one shoulder, her anxiety melted into something softer. He spotted her and waved, that familiar crooked grin breaking across his face. I almost didn't recognize you without your headset, he said as he sat. Wow, she replied. Insulting me so early. It's a love language, he joked. But as they started talking, she realized nothing had changed. The comfort they had online followed them into real life. They joked. They argued about whether pineapple belonged on pizza. It didn't, according to her. He disagreed strongly. They shared fries and stories. At some point, their hands brushed on the table and stayed there, fingers barely intertwined. It felt like an experiment running successfully on the first try. On their third in-person hangout, after a day walking around the park, buying roasted corn and laughing about the strange outfits people wore, they sat on a bench and watched the sun dip behind the buildings. Zara, he said quietly. I like you. She looked at him, heart pounding. I know, she said, smiling softly. He laughed. Wow. Give me small credit, nah, at least I tried to be romantic. She turned a little to face him. I like you too. His whole face lit up. Okay, good, he said. Because I was going to ask. Can we try this? Properly. Not just as friends who send memes. As us. Us, she repeated. Yeah, you and me. In beta version first, maybe. We figure stuff out as we go. No pretending to be perfect. Just honest. She thought about the guys before him. The ones who demanded loyalty without offering stability. Who'd treated her ambition like a threat. Who'd made her feel like love was a prize she had to earn. Then she thought about Tobi. How he cheered her wins, how he listened when she failed, how he made space for her dreams in conversations about his. Okay, she said. Let's try. He exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for weeks. Thank you, he murmured. For what? She asked, amused. For choosing me, he said simply. Later, walking home, Zara typed a message in their chat even though they'd just left each other. So this is us in beta, yeah? He replied instantly. And I'm fully committed to shipping version 1.0 with you. Love did not magically fix their lives. Tobi's job remained demanding, with long hours and unpredictable crises whenever a server decided to misbehave. Zara's internship turned into a full-time junior role, but with it came heavier responsibility and a manager who alternated between praise and impossible expectations. They argued sometimes about time, how Tobi could get so deep into a coding problem that he forgot to reply for hours, leaving her feeling ignored. About energy, how Zara could get so absorbed in a new design concept that she cancelled dinner plans to keep working. One night, after a particularly heated argument over the phone, Zara hung up and burst into tears. Maybe we're not cut out for this, she said to Kiki the next day, stirring her tea without drinking it. Kiki looked at her carefully. Okay, let's be honest. Does he disrespect you? No. Does he make you feel small or crazy for having feelings? No. Does he listen when you say something hurts? Zara paused, remembering how he'd sent a long message after their argument, apologizing for going silent, explaining how he lost track of time when he was debugging but that it wasn't an excuse. He'd suggested they set shared expectations. Texts when meetings ran late, weekend check-ins to plan their time. Yes, she said quietly. So maybe, Kiki said, you're just having a normal relationship? Not chaos, not drama. Just two human beings trying to grow and not trip over each other. That night Zara called him. "I don't want to be right," she said without preamble. "I just want us to work." "Same," he said. "Let's figure it out." They did what they always did best. They communicated. They put things on the table: fears, triggers, boundaries. They treated their relationship like a product in continuous improvement. Test, learn, iterate. On weekdays they carved out focus nights where they could work late with no guilt, phones on Do Not Disturb except for emergencies. On weekends they reserved at least one afternoon for themselves. No laptops, no work talk, just walks, movies, or cooking experiments that sometimes ended with ordering takeout. Career-wise, both of them began to climb. Zara led her first mini-project at work, a redesign of the company's onboarding flow. When the metrics improved, her boss praised her in front of the entire team. She ran to Tobi straight after and practically tackled him in a hug. "They used my design," she exclaimed. "Sign-ups are up by 12%. They showed the charts and everything." He laughed, spinning her around. "I told you. One day you'll be leading the whole product team." "And you," she teased. "Still pressing laptop." "Of course. But now I'm pressing laptop as a senior engineer," he said with mock pride. Promotion came through today. They celebrated with shawarma and soft drinks on the rooftop of her building, the city lights flickering like a low-budget galaxy around them. "Sometimes I'm scared," she admitted, leaning against his shoulder. "Of what?" he asked. "That this is all temporary. That you'll wake up one day and realize I'm too much. Too emotional, too ambitious, too loud." He was quiet for a moment, choosing his words. "I don't need less of you," he said finally. "I just need the real you. On the days when you're loud and laughing, and on the days when you're quiet and doubting everything." She swallowed hard. "What if we outgrow each other?" she whispered. "Then we'll grow differently but still side by side," he replied. "I'm not afraid of you changing. I'm afraid of us stopping the work, stopping the talking, the adjusting, the choosing." She looked up at him, eyes shining. "You really think love is a choice?" she asked. "Yes," he said. "We fell without choosing. But staying. Building a life while we build careers, making time, apologizing, trying again. That's choosing." She smiled, a slow, deep smile that reached into all the parts of her that had once believed she was too difficult to love. "Then I choose you," she said softly. He squeezed her hand. "I choose you every day." Years later, when people asked Zara and Tobi how they met, they would exchange a glance and laugh. "Online," Zara would say. "In a DM I almost ignored." "Through pixels and code," Tobi would add. And a lot of honest conversations. What they rarely added but always knew was this: they were just two young people in love, navigating overtime and deadlines, rent and responsibilities, dreams and disappointments. Nothing cinematic. Nothing perfect. Just messages that turned into calls, calls that turned into coffee, coffee that turned into commitment. Love in beta, upgraded over time, built like the careers they were proud of. With care. With patience. With version after version, always better than the last. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, drop a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Share this video with someone who might love it too. And as always, stay safe, stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.